Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's New Features webinar. Before I start, can I please ask that just to make sure that everyone can firstly hear me and also see the screen there is a hand icon just to the left of your GoToWebinar screen. If you could just click on that so that I can see that. Excellent, I can see lots of hands. So I'm pretty confident that everyone can hear me and see the screen. I did in the last webinar have a few people questioning the sound. The fact that I can see so many hands shows me that the sound is working. So if you are having any issues at your end, you just hit me that they wouldn't be able to hear me. I was going to say check at your end, but I will carry on. Thank you once again for joining us. Okay, so my name is Holly Taylor and I am the team leader for the Client Success team. Hopefully you would have joined one of our webinars previously, but this is an initiative that the Client Success team run. We run monthly webinars and we run these quarterly new features webinars. Really the aim of our team, if you haven't been lucky enough to meet one of us as yet, is to ensure that LEAP clients are fully aware of the features available to them. So we're out and about meeting with our clients all the time, day in, day out. But if there's anything that we can help you with, please feel free to email that address that you see at the moment there, clientsuccess@leap.com.au. At the end of this email, this webinar, I will touch on the various support options that are available to you. But if at any time, please feel free to email the team at that address. Today in our webinar, what are we going to cover? So this is a new version that was released about a month ago. So I'm hoping that everyone's had a chance to look at some of the features, but we're going to go through these in a little bit more detail today. So firstly, invoice mailing. So this is a new feature that allows you to save time by emailing or printing invoices in bulk. So obvious advantages there. You don't need to go into matters individually to print and email your invoices. Secondly, we will look at the new feature that allows you, we call that card document storage. So this allows you to save your documents to your cards. Obvious examples that I will be demonstrating today is saving verification of identity reports direct to your client card, but it is worth noting that this isn't limited in any way just to your client cards. If you say perhaps have a documentation that is specific to a barrister, you can save that to the barrister's card, and that information, that document, will travel with the barrister from matter to matter. So again, hopefully a feature that clients will really love. We'll then look at e-signatures via Law Connect. So this is a great new feature that we've built. We've built this in conjunction with DocuSign, and it allows you to forward cost agreements to your clients to be signed electronically. So this really is helping to solve a very real problem that our clients talk to us about, and that is having signed cost agreements returned to them. So we'll go through that in detail. And then finally, we'll look at reporting groups. This is an additional drop-down box that you can set up, which allows you to segment or categorize your reports even further. Okay, so I am now going to open up LEAP and we'll go through some of these reports, or some of these features, sorry. Before I do, there's just a couple of little things that I really would like to just show you. I'm hoping that most people are aware of these things, but just in case you're not, in terms of checking that you're on the latest version of LEAP, it's really easy to just go up to our help menu at the top right here. And if we go down to About LEAP, right in the middle, we've got a link there which you can click on to check for updates. And hopefully you want to see a tick there to say that you are on the latest version. If you're not, that will obviously tell you that you're not on the latest version and prompt you through updating to the latest version. Another thing that I'd like to quickly go over is the release notes, or the what's new as we call it, that is published via our LEAP community. So that can be accessed via the blue question mark in the top right hand screen of all your LEAP windows. The very top here, it's third option down, we have LEAP Community What's New. If we click there, you're going to see detailed notes, step-by-step instructions of these features. So that's really good to refer to in the future. Okay, but let's get into the features. So as I mentioned, the first one that I mentioned here is invoice mailing. So invoice mailing, as I mentioned, allows you to email and print multiple invoices in bulk. So this feature really does build on the Create Invoices feature that was released in a version last year. Before we start, I want to take you through a process. So if you're going to be emailing these invoices to your clients, what we need to do is set up an email template. So it's quite easy to do, but I'll take you through these steps. So we just need to open any matter. And if we go into the guides and precedents, really where you want to be setting up this template is where you do have all your accounting precedents, your accounting templates, such as your Word bills, which should be saved in Practice Management, Accounting General, Accounting. And you can see there we do have a standard invoice email setup, but I'm just going to take you through setting that up. I'm not going to go through this in great detail because we have had a number of webinars, and there has been a recent webinar that will detail amending precedents, creating precedents, but I will show you just quickly. So if we right click anywhere in that area, one of the options is new, cross to Outlook precedent. We're going to choose our client or the debtor and click OK. That's going to open up a blank email. So we can then customize this. I think in that example, we could see that there already was a standard invoice email set up. So what I might do is set up a second reminder. So I'm just going to type some information. You do have the ability to insert some fields. I've just clicked on Insert, and then it brings up the Insert Field palette on the right here. I'm just going to go through and put in a debtor. If I just put in dear, and the dear field insert, that will personalize any emails that are sent out. And then you can just type whatever it is that you would want to say. I will just type something simple for this example. You won't need to put in your signature. That will be inserted automatically, and simply hit close and save. I'll give that a name. And click on OK. We'll come back to that in a moment, but we now have two standard invoice templates there. I'll close that matter. Okay, so one of the things that I did mention was that this is a bit of an extension on Create Invoice, which we detailed in, this was a new release last year. So something that I just want to touch on. So this allows you to create multiple invoices without having to go into each individual matter. And I guess examples there, you may want to create a batch for a client. You may want to create a batch for person responsible. And these up here are really the filters that you can use. A really good advantage of this is you can also go through these and set a whole group of emails to final. So that's a good advantage of this screen. We'll create that batch number that we can then use in the next step. Again, I will just point out here that you can get help from the community on this particular window. So if I were to click on help for this window, what that's going to do is take us direct to the article in the community specifically about creating invoices in bulk. So I'd always encourage you, if you have any questions, that's a really great place to start. And of course, here you can access our online chat. Our online chat staff all really have great product knowledge. So any questions you have, how do I find, I suggest that's a really great place to go. I'm just going to cancel that. And if we get to our invoice mailings feature and open that screen. Sorry, I didn't. Okay. So straight away, there's a couple of things that I will point out here. Here in the top right-hand corner, there's some information about the outstanding invoices that are showing here. And you'll see that this information will change as I filter down. A couple of other things, the columns across the bottom here, you can click on any of those columns to amend the details there. You can also right-click on any line to get a few different options. Open invoice, you may notice that that's probably not correct and you may need to add something to it. So again, from this screen, you can actually open your invoice. You can also open the matter if you're not quite sure, have a look, and also open the debtor card if you want to add something, change something. You show all invoices. That really just clears any filters that you've got showing. And then the final one that we can choose at the moment is show invoices with invalid email address. And I will come back to you because this is quite important. Obviously, if you are sending emails, it's critical that you have a valid email address saved to the card. So for this example, this is where you could choose a batch if you had created a batch. But what we might do is just choose all final final invoices for Jess Hawkes. And that's going to give us 4 invoices that we want to email. At the top here in the right, this is where we select the email that we're going to send. If I click on that button on the side, we're able to change that to perhaps the second notice. So you can set up any number of email precedents there. If I right-click, I'll just touch on this, and you can see the importance here. If you did have hundreds, it's clear here that these two are missing. Missing email addresses, but if you had hundreds of invoices showing that, it may not be as clear. So it's a really great habit to get into, to show invoices with invalid email addresses. It would then show those and you could investigate further. Not able to select at the moment, but there are a couple of options here at the bottom that also are really helpful after you've done this process. So once we've got everything showing the invoices that we want to send, we've then got the options to either print. We can select all, select none. Again, you can see the benefits. If you had hundreds, that this would make it much easier. Select all, and then simply email or print. One thing that I will mention here, any emails that you do send, they will be saved to the Leap Outbound folder in Outlook, and of course will be saved to the matter. So I'll close that. So that is invoice mailings. Next, I'm going to show you card document storage, and I'm sure you'll agree this is a great feature. Let me go into a matter. So the example that I'm going to show you today is if we go into Ted Harper's card, he's our client. First of all, what we need to do is have the document saved on our network somewhere, saved to your computer. When we go into his card, we will see there is a new tab, which is a Documents tab. If I click, simply a matter of right-clicking and clicking on Import and locating that document on your computer. So I've got it saved here. You can rename it if that's appropriate and just simply hit on Open. So there you have that. That IDFI verification of identity report is saved to Ted's card. If I save and close out of the matter and go into another of Ted Harper's matters, double click on his card, as you can see, that verification of identity report is staying on his card. You can also do this direct from, I've done this through a matter, and you can go to the information and down to cards. There have been a couple of questions I can see, David. Thank you for your question that David's just asked about whether you can drag and drop a document from your matter. At this point, no. At this point, it is just that right click and import, but it's certainly something that I will suggest to our developers. So as I mentioned, you don't need to be in your matter. You can simply go to your cards list and import that information from your cards list. One thing, again, I'd probably like to point out here is this feature is not to be confused with the document register. So the document register, which has your packet numbers and a lot more information, is still the correct place to store your wills, your certificate of titles and important documents. But I think you can all see the value in that new feature. The next feature that I am going to show you is e-signatures. So I guess with the electronic signatures being increasingly recognised in our industry, what we have decided to do, LEAP, in conjunction with DocuSign, is develop an inbuilt electronic signing solution. So today I'm going to show you how we've implemented this signing solution with cost agreements. So at the moment, we've enabled about 160 precedents in LEAP for e-signatures. And I did touch on this, but it's something that is, for our clients, the listeners today, a real problem in that cost agreements, having signed cost agreements returned to you by your clients, it takes you energy, it takes you time. So this is a feature that has been requested and we have worked on. So really excited to be able to show you this. So these cost agreements are across all states and all main matter types in LEAP. So what I'll do is I'll just, within this matter, I'm just going to quickly go through, create a cost agreement. Obviously, this should be something that's not new to you, something that you're doing day in, day out. We create our cost agreement. You can make any changes here, any additions, anything that you need to do, and hit save and close. And again, this shouldn't be new to you. That document is then saved to your correspondence on the right side of your matter. One thing that is new to new to this feature is the orange icon that you'll see here. And if I hover over that, you'll see that the document supports e-signature. So these are one of the cost agreements that supports e-signature. From here, it is really, really simple. One thing I guess that is critical again is that email address. So you may want to quickly check that you have an email address for your clients. What we then want to do is simply right click. I prefer this right click option, but there are two options you can choose. You can right click and go down to request e-signature, or you may have noticed the request e-signature button at the top. Both of those options, so clicking once and clicking request e-signature, they will both do exactly the same thing. Once this screen comes up, there it is. A few things that you'll see. it's automatically brought up the client. It will show you the email address. I guess you'll notice quickly if there's an email address missing, and you can type in a quick message, something to say, please find attached email cost agreement. One thing that I will say here, and that I have said to all clients that are using this is just another option that is available to you. If it obviously doesn't replace the service, the personal service that you provide to your clients. So you would probably still talk them through this process, give them a call, let them know that this email is coming and to expect it. But once we've got to this point, it's sorry, actually, while I'm here, I will also just note that this will incur a cost. So there is a cost that we are passing on from DocuSign that will come to you via InfoTrack. It will be invoiced monthly via InfoTrack. That is the cost per signature. If you did have multiple parties or multiple emails that you needed to sign the document, that would be multiplied, and it supports up to 4 email addresses. So I'll just click on Send Request. And one thing that the next thing that we'll notice that happens is that orange icon should quickly change to, oh, there we go, a blue icon. So that will just indicate to you that that e-signature request has been sent. What I'm now going to do, I have created a Gmail address for Ted. And I'm going to go in there, and there you go. That email is sitting in Ted's email address. So I'm looking at this as your client. They're logging into their email, and this is what they see. So they see this email as mentioned, Ted Harper, Baroni McDonald has, from Staples Law, has sent you the following document to review and sign. What all they need to do is click on View. They would need to log into Law Connect. So again, that may be something you help them do, or even set up for them, is set up a Law Connect username and password. And straight away they'll see that DocuSign branding. We have just, we did decide to partner with DocuSign because they are well known in the industry and very much experts in what they do. From here, you'll see that there is a disclosure statement that your client would need to read and agree to. But once they've done that, all they need to do is click on Continue and read the document. Just dragging through that just to have a look. And when we get to the very bottom of the document where they sign, some of you probably recognize this. I guess a lot of banks, a lot of corporations are using DocuSign. Click on Sign. And from here, your client is presented with a few options. Really, I guess what the signature looks like here is not so important. There are a few things that I will show you in the certificate of completion, which comes with this signed document, that really authenticate the document a lot more than what the visual image of the signature looks like. But they do have options around changing styles. They can upload a signature if they have that scanned somewhere. Or really, this is a great feature. I'm just using a mouse today, but if your clients have any type of tablet, iPhone or anything, they can just do that with their finger. So once they're happy with that image, just simply, again, click on Adopt and Sign, and then Finish. And that is your document signed. Once that is all completed, you will receive an email. So you'll receive an email really at every step of this process, when they've viewed it, when it's signed by each party, if there were multiple parties. And if I go back into the email address, not email address, the Ted Harper's email, we may have to come back and look at this later. The end user will also get a copy of the document that they have signed. And if we go back into the matter, within a very short time, let's give it a couple more seconds. You will see that signed cost agreement is returned back to your matter in LEAP, and we'll have a look at that. So you can see how quickly that happens. Hoping that will come through quite quickly. I'll just update that. There you go. So in a real world situation, you probably wouldn't be sitting there waiting for that, but you can see that really did happen very, very quickly. And straight away, you've got your signed cost agreement. It's the exact same version of that. Let's just double click and have a look at that. That will open the document PDF. And I'm going to scroll down and show you the certificate of completion that I have mentioned a couple of times. And this is where the important information really is. You can see when it was sent, when it was viewed, when it was signed. You can see that image. You can see the IP address of the device that this was sent from. And you can also see the DocuSign unique identifier. So a lot of information provided there. And as I said, both yourself as the sharer and your client as the signer will receive email notifications every step along the way. One thing that I will show you here in the office accounting cost recoveries, as I mentioned, there is a automatic cost recovery. A lot of our clients have suggested they would prefer not to send to invoice their client for that, which is totally acceptable and really easy to just right click and click set to not billable. Therefore, your client will not be charged for that. So that's e-signatures. Really excited to be able to show that today and hope you can see benefits to that. The next area that we're going to look at is, close that matter, is your reporting groups. I'll go into another of these Ted Harper's matters, and if we just have a look at the matter details screen, you'll notice here there's a new drop-down menu for reporting groups. Really, these can be set up, and I'll I'll fix that spelling mistake, but really they can be set up to for anything that you want to categorize your reports on. So it could be departments, it could be different branches, it could be anything really. So really what you need to do at the start of the matter is put that into your particular group. This is a will matter, so we're going to put it into, sorry, it's a power of attorney. We'll put it into wills and estates department and click on OK. It's as simple as that. In terms of setting up these reporting groups, you would do this under your tools and options, general preferences, reporting groups. And to set up, amend, or delete any of these groups, you would use the plus, pencil, or bin icon at the bottom. So what I might do here is just amend department and submit. So once you have created those reporting groups and you go through and when you're setting up your matters, you select which reporting group. I'll just show you the reports that these reporting groups can be applied to. Just that one thing that I will note there is these are not linked to your general ledger and only used for reporting purposes, but there's no problem with replicating the general ledger reporting groups that you may already be using. If I do go to reports, open your reports, the 6 different reports that these can be applied to. If we go to matters and clients, it's your matters opened. You may want to report on different departments or branches. You've also got your inactive matters report, will also show that. Management, you have both your fee contribution and recovery reports, the top one there, or the fee contribution and recovery by matter type. We also have our aged debtors and aged disbursement report. They will all, I'll just click into the aged debtors report just to show you. So this straight away is showing us any aged debtors, and you'll see at the top here the reporting groups. This is only showing 8 debtors there, but you can imagine if you did have quite a few debtors, you may want to just say, look at property, click on view report, and that will break down your debtors according to just that one reporting group. So again, hopefully you can see the benefits to this new feature. That is the final feature that I have to show you today, and we've taken 30 minutes, so impressed with the timing there. But what I would like to do, if you could stay on for just a moment or so, a couple of other little things that are new. First of all, the right click and print. This is a new feature. Very simply, if I click on that, you can print that document. So there's no need to double click, open your document if you're sure that that's the document you want to print. You can also hold down your shift key and select multiple documents to print all 3 documents, for example. So again, a great feature. Something else I'd like to just touch on, our developers in the last quarter when working on this version have spent considerable time optimizing the documents and precedent opening speeds. I have seen some really good examples of this, so really hoping that you've noticed this also. Okay, let me just come back to our PowerPoint presentation. And I'm just going to have a quick look through a couple of questions. One of the questions that we do seem to have is really, I guess, regarding the reliability and security of the e-signatures. And I guess I will kind of touch on that. I'm sure you would know from your experience and study that for a signature to hold up in a court of law, you have to prove 3 things, and they are the authenticity, the context, and intent. So really with a wet or pen to paper signature, to prove those 3 things, those authenticity, context, and intent, the only fallback to prove that in a court of law is a handwriting expert. We believe that e-signatures really provide a more secure and reliable source because you get that certificate of completion. So you clearly see that date of signature, time of signature, all that information. For those reasons also, as I mentioned, we have partnered with DocuSign. They are globally recognised, used by large corporations and banks and experts in their field. So I hope that addresses some of the concerns that I'm seeing here. Questions around the precedent. So yes, at the moment it is just those cost agreements. We saw that as a real issue that we could fix with this problem. We will definitely start to automate and add this to different precedents. Okay, there are a couple of other questions, but what I will do is we will produce a frequently asked questions document, FAQ document, and we will also, because they're quite specific, I will come back to you directly on those questions. So hopefully you've learned a lot today, and what I will do is just take the time to just go over a couple of our options for support. They're really, really important. So I did touch on the live chat. So this is accessed by the LEAP community. As I said, our live chat staff are very, very skilled in our product. So please feel free to ask them any product-related questions. The help manual, this is also available via the LEAP community, will detail all your steps that I've outlined today. And also, if you do need to help access our help desk, support@leap.com.au is probably the best avenue. You can send an email, you can put lots of detail in there, you can even snip images, anything. And of course, as mentioned at the start of this email, feel free to email clientsuccess@leap.com.au at any time, and we will point you in the direction or help you out if we can. Finally, a recording of this webinar will be made available to you in the next week or so. So I hope you've enjoyed, and hopefully we will see you back next month. Thank you very much. See ya.